In this video, we're going to look at how to operate a one-person service, which means when there's only one person operating the stream. Here on OBS, we're going to go to the scene selection, and you notice we have two Christmas Eves marked late and early. They're really the same thing. So now we are on Christmas Eve early. Here on the scene list, we have the usual blank placeholders, PTZ and Canon, but you won't have to worry about the Canon. Intro 1, this is simply a placeholder. It will soon have a welcome message in it. But then this is the service, which is blank. This is simply the PTZ1 position. The most you might do to change it, take the remote and adjust it so that you have a clear view of both lecterns, but that you don't reach over to the doors. But this is as much as we are going to get, and Paula is aware of that. Because there's only one of you, your attention will need to be on the soundboard. So you want to, when you get in here, set everything up like this, and you will simply operate a fixed camera for the entirety of the service. And you will not change the scene till you get to the end, when there's a simple card wishing everybody a Merry Christmas. But obviously that also means that you will need to set up a little bit differently here in the pew. For microphones, you are going to use only the congregation mics and the church sound system, so the reader and the organ mic. So you will have the organ transmitter plugged in, you will have the reader's microphone mounted and turned on, and Paula will have her microphone. At the late Christmas Eve service, there is the possibility that the band may play. If that does happen, you will pick them up only off of the congregation mics and will live with however it sounds. You're not going to have the time available to you to set up the microphones for the band, and we need to keep this as simple as possible so that one person can reasonably do it. Obviously, this means that there will be no on-screen text. Those at home will simply have to follow along as best they can based on what they can hear. The hymns, though, the audio on that should come through fairly well now that we have repositioned the cameras. It really does sound much nicer with the repositioning. Now, we have to look at how we're going to change our setup here. You'll see it may be a little bit dark, but we have the soundboard placed on the table right next to the computer so that you can reasonably get at both of them. Still, most of your attention will need to be on the soundboard. You want to be close enough to the computer, however, that you can see the audio meter on OBS, because as you know, you don't want that going much higher than the middle of the yellow range. Certainly you want to keep it out of the red. If it does go into the red, you want to back down whichever level, whichever microphone channel you are running at that moment. The other thing that you need to move, I don't think we can see it very well, but anyway, right next to the stack of the hymnals and in front of the other table, the Mookie is sitting right there. That is necessary to move it because of the length of the cord. But we have Then the cables are kept clear. We have the church mics. We have the receiver for the church sound system set here on top of the stack of hymnals. We have the receivers for the organ and for the congregation mics. They are on top of the folding table. For these services, you will have a copy of the bulletin that will have Hope's audio notes in it, telling you which microphone channels you need turned on at which time. So then it is simply a matter of following that along. She will have written in there the basic level ranges that you'll want, but as always, you will want to keep an eye on the levels on OBS and pay attention to what you're hearing through the Axloy earbuds in case somebody is louder or softer than what you expect and you need to adjust. Again, that is why your attention will need to be mostly on the soundboard and why we cannot do a service the way we normally do. I've tried it that way before. It's just too much for one person to handle. So this has to be a two-person operation to do the full on-screen display that we normally do. But in this occasion, we know that there will only be one person here for each of the Christmas Eve services who will be able to run the board. So we're going to do it this way so that we will have an online presence on Christmas Eve. And if it should come up again in the future, you'll be able to keep this in mind and understand that, yes, there is a way to do it, and that we will be prepared for how to handle that. Other than that, the basics of, at the start of the service, you'll give Claudia the sign that you are ready, that the stream has been connected. You will run the only intro card for about 30 seconds. Then you will switch. You'll make sure before you give her the intro sign that you have the organ channel turned up to the proper setting. Again, that will be in the bulletin with Hope's notes. And you will leave the organ channel running alone for the length of Claudia's prelude. As soon as she is done, you will take down the organ channel and bring up the congregation mics and the church sound system. You'll have to adjust that based on how loud Paula is when she delivers her welcome. The intro card would stay up for only 30 seconds. Then you'll go to the service screen, the blank screen coming from the blank raw video coming from the PTZ as we've described, and you'll just leave that for the remainder of the service, and your attention will be simply on the sound. After the closing hymn and the dismissal, you'll switch back to the organ audio channel and let Claudia start playing. At some point after that, you will switch to the final scene that is labeled End. It says Scene 3, End. And you'll simply stay on that. That is the people of St. Michael's wish you all a very Merry Christmas. And leave that up for the remainder of Claudia's postlude. And as soon as she is done with that, that will be with only the organ channel running, so there'll be no noise from in the worship space. As soon as she's done with that, then you stop the stream and stop the recording, and then you close down in YouTube. And after that, you can start taking everything apart. I believe the plan will be, Don is scheduled to do the early Christmas Eve, Adam is scheduled to do the late one. I believe it is Don's plan simply to set up and leave everything in place. So when you get in here, you will find everything in place. Don will need to remember to turn everything off. So Adam, you'll simply need to make sure you've turned everything on. Walk around and do your sound check. Have somebody help you out with that. Make sure that you are picking up audio, you're not getting interference, and so on. Once you're done with that, then the service is ready. And after the service, you will need to follow the instructions and break everything down. Put the camera in the roller bag, pack everything away and put it into the vesting room where it can be locked up, and return the computer to Paula's office in its briefcase. That should cover how to handle the service when we have only one person running it, and we thank you very much.